Here we go. A literal equation is an equation that involves two or more variables. We solve the exact same way that we've been solving, basically. We undo with inverses, we undo the addition subtraction first, and then the multiplication division. It's just going to look a little bit different, but don't get freaked out. We're just solving an equation like we've been solving. Literal equations, what I like to do, it says solve the following equations for y. I like to mark my variable in some way. If you want to like circle it or something, you could do that. I'm solving for y, or box it. Doesn't matter to me. I think I'll highlight since I have that ability. So if you have a highlighter, you could do that. I'm solving for y. Okay. So we're trying to get y by itself is what we're trying to do. So that means that the 2x has got to go away. What else needs to go away? What else, Trinity?
The 3.
The 3. Yeah, the 2x and the 3. So we got to think about, right now, the 2x is being added because the 2x is positive. So the first thing we want to take away is the 2x because the 3 is multiplied, right? This is multiplication. And this is addition because the 2x is added. So the addition has to go first. How do I undo addition, guys?
Subtraction.
So we're going to subtract 2x. Take it away. Since it's positive, we have to subtract it. Same type of thing you do when you isolate. So that cancels out. And we just write exactly what we have left. 3y is equal to, freeze, are 6 and 2x, like terms. No, you cannot write this as 4x or 4. They are not like terms. You have to write it as 6 minus 2x. You have to leave it like that. You can't combine them. Okay, now we said that the 3 was multiplied. So Hannah, how do I undo multiplication? Right, so we should divide by 3. And on the right side, I divide everything by 3. If we're multiplying or dividing, you have to do it to everything you see. That divides to 1, so the 3's cancel out. And so I'm left with y is equal to 6 minus 2x divided by 3. I don't really like that answer because you can break this up into 2 fractions and simplify it. Maybe you feel like this is not necessary. I should not have to do this. When we get into our linear unit, which is like unit 3, I think, you're going to have to know how to do this, which is why I'm teaching you now. So we're going to break this up. I can break it up into y is equal to 6 divided by 3 and minus 2/3 x, or 2x over 3. So it breaks up into 2 fractions since they share that 3 on the bottom. Then we simplify it if we can. Raise your hand if you see what we should simplify. What should we simplify, Blaine?
6 and 2.
6 and the 2. What do you mean?
Like you just divide them both by 2.
Yeah. So here you mean?
Yes.
Or, yeah, so we can divide by 2, or divide by 3. You mean divide by 3? And you should get, yes, okay. Get 2. So we get y is equal to not 6 over 3, but 2. Can 2/3 get any smaller? No, and I do not want you to write it as a decimal, so we're going to leave it as 2/3 x. And again, draw your balancing line. Oh, wrong color. Balancing line. Let's just think about what's happening first. We've got to take care of the negative 1x has got to go, and the negative 5 has got to go. How is the negative 1x related to the y? It's a negative, so what do you think that is? It's like apart from the negative 5y, and it's negative. Do you think that's adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing? This term right here. Negative 1x is subtracted. We're going to do the opposite, and we're going to add it, yeah. And then the negative 5 is multiplied. So we undo the subtraction first and take away the negative 1x by adding 1x, just like you would when you isolate, and that'll cancel it out. So we have negative 5y is equal to, are those like terms, negative 10 and 1x? No, you have to leave them separate then. Negative 10 plus 1x separately. Again, we're solving for y. So now we've got to move that negative 5. We said it was being multiplied, so how do I undo it? Divide by negative 5 on both sides. Remember, you have to divide everything by negative 5. I see some things that can be simplified, so I'm going to break it up into two fractions. The first one would be negative 10 divided by negative 5. And the second one is going to be 1x divided by negative 5. So I could write that as negative 1/5 x. Can 1/5 get any smaller? No. But what is negative 10 divided by negative 5? 2. So we're going to rewrite that as y is equal to positive 2 minus 1/5 x. And that is your answer. You leave it like that. For y, so let's start by maybe highlighting the y and drawing that balancing line. The 3x is apart from the 2y, and it's positive. So it is being added. How about the 2? The 2 is right next to the y, so how is it related? What is it, Leah? It's right now it's multiplied. So we're going to undo the addition first. Macy, how do I take away the 3x? Okay. Thank you. So it'll cancel it out. And we rewrite 2y is still there. Are 8 and 3x like terms? Definitely not. They do not have the same variable. So it just is written like this, 8 minus 3x. Kirsten, how do I get rid of the 2? Okay, everything. And now let's rewrite it like two fractions. Y is equal to 8 divided by 2 and negative 3/2 x. So notice what I'm doing is I'm taking this part and this part. I'm just splitting them up. 8 divided by 2 is what? 4. Can 3/2 get any smaller? Yes. You could write it as 1.5 if you wanted, or you could leave it as a fraction. Since it's a fraction that stops, it would be okay with me if you wrote 1.5, but you do not have to. So I'm going to leave it as 3/2. But if you like 1.5 better, you won't hurt my feelings. Right. Because the 4x is added, and this negative 1 is multiplied. So goodbye to the 4x. We're moving it to the other side. So we have negative 1y is equal to 8 minus 4x. Those are not like terms. And Lillian up front, how do I get rid of the negative 1? Okay, because it's multiplied. And we get y is equal to, okay, you could think of it, this one should divide evenly. So 8 divided by negative 1. What's that? Negative 8. And then we'll do the same thing over here, negative 4 divided by negative 1. Positive 4x. This should look familiar. We talked about this yesterday right before you took your quiz. Remember, it's like we have parentheses on the top. And so you have to take care of the 4 before you start adding 7 and doing that. How do I undo division by 4, guys? Multiply by 4 times by 4. That'll cancel out. Okay, so 2y minus 7 is what we have left. We're not combining like terms over here, we're just multiplying. So 4 times 3 would give me 12, and then put the x. So just like you would when you distribute, multiply the numbers, tack the variable on. What I want you to just pretend like the 12x is a number. If you're solving for y and it just said equals 12, what would I do next? Someone raise your hand. What would I do next? If this is a regular number, Kieran?
I'd add 7.
Yep. So if we add 7, it cancels. So it's 12x. And those are not like terms, so we have to write them separately. It should be 12x, sorry. 12x plus 7. Pretend like on the right side you just have a number. Emily, what do I do next? Yeah. Divide everything by 2. So y would be equal to 12x divided by 2 and 7 divided by 2 if you split them up. What's 12 divided by 2? 6. So this is really just 6x. And 7 does divide by 2 evenly. So you could put a decimal, and that would be fine with me. What would our decimal be? 3.5, or you could leave it as 7/2. Okay, we are solving for y, so let's mark it. Y. Remember yesterday we talked about with that negative, if you see a negative out front like this, you can just put it with the number. So I could put that negative with the 3. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it like that. So instead of putting negative y over 3, I'm going to put y over negative 3 minus 4x equals 12. Ugh. Let's think about how these are related. How is a negative 3 operating on the y? What is this? Division. Okay. Keep using the highlighter. Dang it. Division. What is this? This whole thing. Minus 4x. The 4x is being subtracted because we have to take away that whole thing. So we have to get rid of the subtraction first. Lucas, how would I get rid of that minus 4x? How do I take it away? Okay. So remaining we have y divided by negative 3 is equal to our 12 and 4x like terms? No, please do not make me sad and write 16x. It is 12 plus 4x. And class, how do I undo division? Multiplication. So we're going to multiply by negative 3 on both sides. Now, you're going to have to multiply everything by negative 3. So this is distribution over here. So you have to distribute the negative 3 to the 12 and the 4x. Hopefully you can do it without a calculator. 3 times 12. Negative 36, yep. And then negative 3 times 4x. Negative 12x.